We make over 100 videos most years. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But we only make 6 cool tools a year, and they're always among our most popular because everyone loves cool tools. It's like show and tell when you're back in 3rd grade, except instead of Transformers and G.I. Joes, I'm going to show you some of my favorite things in the workshop. And all you got to do is just sit back, maybe have a cold one, and enjoy looking at them. As always, any sponsor involvement's posted on the screen at the beginning of the video and down below the video next to the links. You can find those if you click Show More or if you find them at the top of the comments section. If you want to know more about anything you see in this video, use those links, especially because some of them are going to get you some discounts. Now this time I'm focusing on some of my favorite small tools. I'm going to show you 7 of them, and I really think you're going to want to watch to the end of this video because these are, pound for pound, some of the coolest things that you're going to see in a long time. And the last one, well, you're just going to have to wait and see for that. Now let's get started. Many times in the past, I've needed a small pocket hole jig that can fit in a tight space to add a part or to make a repair. A simple tool like that can really get you out of a bind. And I've come to realize, despite using many different ones, that the Milescraft PocketJig 200 is the best value if you want a budget-friendly compact jig for odd jobs. For one thing, it's a fully functioning pocket hole jig. You can build entire projects with it if you want. And it comes with some really useful features that a lot of other mini jigs don't have. Let's start with the rotating fence on the end. If you turn it downward, you can hook it on the edge of your workpiece to position it precisely. In this case, I'm using the scale on the side to measure the thickness of my workpiece. Then I push the button on top to set the jig to match that thickness on either the metric or imperial scales. Finally, on the underside, I have a convenient way to set the stop collar on my drill bit so I can bore to the correct depth for the material that I'm using. Now, if you're using a metal clamp, the rare earth magnet on top conveniently sticks this right to the clamp, but any woodworking clamp will work, or even a C-clamp. I love how they give you a quick release adapter in the kit, so you can quickly switch between drilling and driving screws. And they even provide both short and long torque style drivers. Honestly, this set is such a good value for a lot less than I'd expect to pay. There's not much more to say about it. I assume you know how to use a pocket jig. Like all the other Milescraft tools I own, it just does its job well at a reasonable cost. If you're looking for a simple, inexpensive pocket hole jig to build entire projects, or you just want a small version to complement your larger setup, this might be the one to get. I'm going to link to it below this video. I've been using the GuidePro for about 5 years now, and to this day I still wonder why nobody thought of this before. It's the perfect bandsaw accessory for resawing. I love it because it's so fast and easy to set up. There's a cam on the bottom that goes into your miter slot. As you angle the tool toward you, it self-secures in that slot. Then you slide the handle forward to apply pressure against your workpiece. I like to push the rubber feather just in front of the end of my board so it'll fold back when I advance the cut. Then you lock the lever on top and you're ready to go. As you can see, the large rubber feather applies firm, even pressure, keeping the board flat against the fence and giving you a very consistent cut. If I'm taking multiple slices from a single board, it's so fast and easy to readjust and keep right on going. You can add an optional 4-inch extension for extra wide boards if your saw has high capacity. I actually got a second GuidePro so I could just leave the extension on one of them. And the rubber-like material conforms to any variations in shape and thickness, so it's really versatile. They also added a couple extra features, like the removable base that can be used to square your fence or to measure its distance from the blade. There's a lot of gimmicky bandsaw accessories out there, but this one has made a real difference in my shop. We've used it for many resaw projects over the years, and honestly, I wouldn't want to be without it. I'll link to the GuidePro below so you can check it out. This is another cool accessory that I didn't know I needed until I got one. You might have seen it in a recent dado tutorial that we did. It's a storage holder for table saw blades. It's intended to be used to carry blades to a job site or just to store them in your workshop so they're secure and they're not going to get banged around and damaged. There's even holes for hanging it on a pegboard wall. It fits up to 10 blades from your small circular saws to your 10-inch table saws. But I'm using this one to store my dado set. I love that I can put blades on one side, chippers on the other, so I don't have to unload everything if I want to just get a thin stack. Some dado sets come with holders, but if yours didn't, or you want something to store and protect your other saw blades, this is tough, it's handy, and it is reasonably priced. I'm actually thinking of ordering another one myself. I'll put a link below this video and a discount code so you can save some money on it. Check them out. I've made homemade clamping squares in the past, but these are so economical and strong, it just makes sense to get a few, and I'm glad I did. The way they work is simple. With a pair of clamps, they hold a project assembly square, so you can add your fasteners or just let the glue dry. They work on inside or outside corners, and they have recesses to manage any glue squeeze out. They're like having a third or fourth or fifth hand, especially for larger casework like cabinet boxes. But they can also be used as 90-degree fixtures for making jigs for other tools like the table saw, the drill press. That's because they're guaranteed square within 2/1000ths, and they're made from durable, non-flexing, glass-reinforced nylon. I love that they come in 4 different sizes and 4 to a set, so they're as cheap as $1.25 each for the smallest ones. That's what I mean about being economical. But you have to use my link below to get them, and I suspect this is one of those things that's going to sell out fast, like a lot of stuff in these videos do, so I'd grab a few while you can. Whenever I do Cool Tools videos, I try to get some of the brands that I've gotten to know personally over the years to give some special discounts for my audience. And this time, 3 brands are giving discounts. The first one I already told you about was the Ridge Carbide, but the other one is one of the best brands, honestly, that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. ISOtunes. They're a family-run startup from Indiana who they just treat everyone with kindness, from their employees to their vendors to their partners like myself, and especially their customers. They're legendary for their customer service. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I would choose ISOtunes over other hearing protection brands on the market, because I've been using them for years now, and I love them. Everybody that's worked in my shop has used them and loved them. And they always support Cool Tools. In the past, they've given discounts usually on a specific product, but this time they're giving a flat 20% off anything on their website for 3 days only with the Stumpy code, or with the discount code Stumpy20. I'll link to it below. In fact, if you click the link, it's going to automatically enter that code so you don't have to remember it. It's going to end on the 20th. After that, you can still use my regular 10% discount code, which is a separate link below, but the 20% is only for these next 3 days. I hope you at least visit their site as a way of thanking them for helping to support this Cool Tools series in the past year. Another great brand that came through with a discount for this episode is the Craftsman Gallery. They're offering my viewers only a 10% discount on my favorite digital caliber. You have to use the link below and the discount code Stumpy, with no capitals, at checkout. And it's good until December 22nd, so just for a few days. Now, if you're wondering why I like these particular calipers so much, and I've had these for years and years, here's some highlights from a past edition of Cool Tools. And they do make models with the ability to auto round off fractions so you don't get crazy numbers like 33/128ths. This one lets you switch between 128ths when you want that kind of accuracy, and a much more manageable 30 seconds, which is far handier for woodworking tolerances. I love that feature. Normally I reserve the last spot in every episode of Cool Tools for a really cheap tool that I think is worth owning. But most of this episode has been fairly inexpensive tools. So this time I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm going to show you a tool that's going to cost a little bit. This is the Bridge City HP6 FX Mini Multi-Plane, and it is one of the coolest tools I've ever had on this series. I know it's not in every woodworker's budget, but sometimes isn't it just fun to see what's out there? And fun doesn't even begin to describe what I've been having with this tool. It's a true multifunctional plane. It was originally designed by John Economaki in 2004, and as some of you know, John is still designing tools for Bridge City, and this is his 3rd version of the HP6. As it comes out of the box, it's kind of like a block plane with a unique shape that's much like the old Continental style planes, with that back that fits the web of your hand, making it really comfortable to hold and use. But it's not really just a block plane. It also features a pair of removable depth skids, so you can precisely thickness small workpieces up to 1.25 inches in width. That's because the blade runs the full width of the sole. And you can take advantage of that further by adding a fence. And now you have a moving Philister rabbiting plane. It can cut rabbets up to 1.25 inches wide, and there's a built-in nicker for working across the grain as well. I love to say nicker. The fence can also be set to 45 degrees and it becomes an edge beveling plane. All that's pretty cool, but notice how the sole is set in a dovetailed track. That makes it possible to adjust the mouth opening, but you can also remove the entire sole and its matching iron and replace it with different soles and different matching irons. For example, this set will cut a 1/4 inch dado or groove. You can swap in other widths of dados and grooves as well, or they have 60 and 90 degree V groove cutters. There's also sole and iron sets for cutting crowns or bowl noses, jobs that used to require a full shelf of separate planes or a complicated combination plane. But the Stanley planes don't have fully interchangeable soles, and that produces a much cleaner tear-out free cut with less wandering and fussing. It's hard to express how cool this tool is just in this little video segment. You really have to hold it in your hand, I think. For one thing, it is extremely heavy. That's one of the first things I noticed, because the body and the soles are machined from solid chunks of stainless steel. And the tolerances are so precise that the blades are self-indexing, so there's no need for lateral adjustment, especially on the joinery blades. And many of the blades come with matching honing guides, so you can maintain their precise shapes. I'm just starting to use mine, and I'm sure I'm going to have lots of interesting things to show you on Instagram in the future. So if you're not following me already on Instagram, do that. And definitely use the link below to see more of the HP6FX. But before you go, check this out. Power carving is a blast. You should try it sometime. Grab some scrap wood and some carbide burrs from Sabertooth power carving tools and just give it a go. You may be surprised what you're capable of, like this folk art eagle I made from 2x6s. Check out what Sabertooth has to offer at the link below this video.